What is going on, good people? What is going on? We are here. We are live in effect. And I done started the show and didn't even really mean to start it. Didn't even mean to start it yet. Still I's I haven't dotted and T's I haven't crossed, but the show must go on. The show must go on. We got to get it together. We got to get it going. So shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. We about to be getting into it. This is a study, something that we about to be. Well, there's a number of things we about to be getting to. A number of topics on the table today, and I'm looking down, not looking up at y'all, because I'm still typing and dotting I's and crossing T's. But we about to be getting into this. This is something I wanted to get into a while ago, but it became an older study. But for some reason, sometimes those old studies make a comeback. Those old studies make a comeback, and people have been back sharing and repopularizing this thing. So I'm going to take it among myself to say some things that I've been wanting to say about this for a long time. Some things I've been wanting to say about this for a long time, because this came out, even I don't even know if I was fully going live on YouTube yet when this originally came out. So this is something that I've been wanting to get into for a minute, and I got a bunch of action packed things to get into. Some very funny stuff to go over before we get all the way into the main subject. Jesus, oh my goodness, I am struggle streaming hard. Y'all can't see how bad this struggle streaming is on y'all end, but I can see everything that's not right. But we about to get through it. So shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, make sure you hit the like button. Whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. And without further ado, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What is going on? What is up, good people? Thank you, everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. As I always say, hit the like button whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. I see you in the building, Mike and Vince Perkins, and I'm all messed up. I was supposed to be doing this. I was supposed to be, I shout out everybody in the beginning having music playing while I do that. That's too slow. I don't know if that's the one I want to go with. We'll see. That's the one I do on my pre-records. Still building it while we're flying it. Y'all let me know if that's the right amount of... I think that's right. That's the right amount of volume. I don't know if the music too loud or not. But shout out to everybody in the building. That's how I was supposed to start. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Mike and Vince Perkins. Shout out to the Early Bird Squad, those making it bright and early before we even get things started. Shout out to Mike and Vince Perkins. She says, "What's up, doe?" Feminist Tears says, "Of course they doing better. They are all queens. Absolutely. The queens are doing better." RM in the building says, "Good morning," and she says, as always, on the way in the building, hit the like button. The big homie Coop says, "Salute Bernard Riley." Jay Freeman, Black Man, says, "What's up?" Sound like that old Budweiser commercial. I think that's what you was doing, at least. I don't know if you're my age or not, but if you're my age, you definitely was doing the Budweiser commercial. Shout out is my father's son said it's been widely known as Cap. Wayman KC in the building. Shout out to Jeff Javon H. Shout out to Perfect Storm. Shout out to Aaron B. Now y'all can let me know. Let me know, was this music too loud? Is that the decent volume that the music ought to be at when I start the show with a musical selection? When I start the show playing music when I first start talking, coming out of the intro, y'all can let me know if that was too loud or just right. Y'all can let me know if that was too loud or just right. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. But what was the other thing that I was desperately trying to do before I got started? Wow, that was a lot to do there. Hold on. One quick thing, and because I got something real funny to show y'all. Some of y'all may get it, some of y'all may not. But this was fucking hilarious. I woke up to this and laughed. And laughed something vicious soon as I saw this. And I mean, soon as I saw it, I laughed something vicious. So I got to get that ready to go for y'all. This came from Keep It 100. Okay, so too loud. Oh, wait, we got mixed reviews. Mike says too loud. RM says good volume. Red Scorpio said down just a little. Jackie says too loud. Javon H says tone it down. Okay. Yeah, RM, you got voted off the island. I'm sorry. I normally respect your listening ear, but you it's like a 1 to 10 vote. So I gotta bring it down some. Oh, you got some support, RM. Okay, hold on. Tan just came in, said good volume. John Doe or Dukes just says good volume. But you're still behind. But all right, let's go ahead and get into it. I don't know if y'all saw this. To give it a little backstory of what's happened here. Basically, after Hafez, Hafez Abuka, whatever his last name is, from the roommates. Shut up, Snuggles. Just stop. No, your opinion doesn't matter, Snuggles. It doesn't. However, for old time's sake, every now and then, Hi, I'm Snuggles. All right, but your opinion doesn't matter. But I think that teddy bear was the first drop that I ever used on my show. So you always have a place in my heart. But your opinion don't matter though. He said Bernard ride dragons with that cup. Y'all know my other favorite cup broke. I'm not even getting on my chair to walk around in my desk to go get it. But my little goblet, into that, it broke. He says, Bernard, you can't have black shiny hair with a blazer. Yes, I can. My beard a little too shiny too. You ain't supposed to put Murray's grease in the beard too. That's why it's looking a little white right there. But all right, let's let me get okay. Hafez of the roommates. Everybody went round and round and beat that dead horse. I did content on it twice. did a pre-record. It did well. Got like 23,000 views. Thank you everybody who watched it. Then I did yeah, my Game of Thrones goblet is broke. It's broken in two pieces on the ground. But I did a live stream. No, wait. Oh no, I did content on it 3 times. On him 3 times. I did a pre-record about his run-in with Coach Greg Adams, and then I did a live stream show reaction to that. And then when he went on Just Pearly Things, I did a live show reaction to that. And basically everybody had just been, it's like he got body slammed, and then everybody just came by and just Hulk Hogan leg dropped him. It was like a who's who cast of characters of everybody who made videos banging on Hafez for being what was probably a blue pill or neutral. He was probably neutral at first when he was just interviewing people, but then when he started speaking for himself and not doing the interview content, around the time Kevin Samuels blew up, like I said, he started dipping his toe in the red pill, started doing a little red pill content, start talking to guys like that. And then that little run is over. I don't know the death of Kevin Samuels. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but he said, "Okay, I'm about to hop back over the fence." So he tried to hop back over the fence in a triumphant, glorious way. Go out. He tried to go out in a blaze of glory, and go out is what he did. So here's the deal. God damn, man. When YouTubers come in here saying YouTube is boring now, I think you just playing. I mean, your bare minimum supposed to do a damn a self-promoting, shameless marketing. YouTube is boring except for me. Like that's your bare minimum supposed to do that. Like you don't just say it's boring and just put a period at the end of the sentence when you're a YouTuber. Oh, but you're a YouTuber that I forgot. He's a YouTuber that don't want to grow his channel. I'm messing with patriarchy. I like the brother. I like the brother. But yeah, everybody just basically he got body slammed by Coach Greg Adams, and everybody just came by and gave him a Hulk Hogan leg drop. That was how I always viewed it. You says I am not a YouTuber. Yeah, just like Super Hot Fire is a I am not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper. That's how you not a YouTuber. I gotta quit laughing at my own jokes. That was a good one though. But all right. Anyway, my vision of what was going on with Hafez is Coach Greg Adams body slammed him, and then everybody else just came by and just Hulk Hogan leg dropped him, and then some person, I don't know is exactly who made this, but they had the divine infinite wisdom of reading my mind and creating this, and here it is. Like to here it go. That's enough setup. Let's go ahead and get into it. Y'all can see me featured right there, by the way. Hold on, wait. Y'all can see that? Yeah, y'all can see that. So you can see me. I made the cut of the people in the ring while Hafez is right there getting beat up. I see me. I see Edward Anderson, Just Pearly Things, Rolo. I think that's the Modern Life Dating guy. Lead attorney here. I can't tell who this is or who this is. I can't tell who those two are. But either way it goes, somebody actually made this and put it together.
Semblance of a match started here, but the purpose, there's the following.
Shout out to Keep It 100. He shared it. I forgot who the original person is. Actually, no, I got to properly shout out the original person. Okay, Jesse'ville the third. Jesse'ville the third. Thank you. I think he's the originator. All right, we got to go back to the beginning, uninterrupted. Let's go.
The referee, nor have I seen any semblance of a match started here, but the purpose, there's the following. The purpose here has not been to win a title, I don't think. It's to dismantle the world champion.
Sure, they're trying to injure. They're trying to hurt Sting. No question about it.
I don't care how tough that man is. There's nothing he can do with 10 guys in that ring.
Here comes the
edge. Yeah, man.
It's about time.
Oh, why they gonna make me go right to the Breakfast Club? I don't do that. We don't do that here.
The referee, nor have I seen any.
I don't know who Breakfast Club paid or how much they sacrificed the firstborn child to me. Every time a video go off, the Breakfast Club come up. He said TLA been eating off that 5-hour stream for a week and a half now. I didn't even watch TLA. I didn't even watch TLA go. Actually, I saw clips. I saw his clips. I probably should have broke up clips too. Because O'Shea broke up a real good clip of mine. And I was like, oh, I was cooking right there. Why didn't I break that up and make my own little clip of it? You know, I be bullshitting. I be bullshitting. But yeah, but no, this was funny as hell. This was funny as hell. But when I looked up right there and saw my head on, I don't even know what wrestler this is that my head is on. Somebody in some turquoise spandex. Who the hell wore turquoise spandex? I want to say Mr. Perfect, but I don't even think he was in WCW at the time, and let alone was in NWO. So I don't even know who they didn't put my head on. I think Ed is on the Big Show or some shit. I don't know. I don't know who the hell Ed Head is on, but this shit is funny. That shit was funny, man. I died laughing at that. Shout out to Jessieville. Shout out to Jessieville for yeah, you with me. You said that's Mr. Perfect, but I didn't know Mr. Perfect was even in NWO, or I don't remember him being in WCW. I know it was a moment when WCW took over right around this time with NWO. That was when WCW just like, no, well, pun intended, they leg dropped the shit out of WWF at the time before they had to change it to WWE. But yeah, that was the last time I watched wrestling. I watched it as a kid, and then I quit watching it when I got older. But then when NWO came back and it was turned into like a root for the bad guys type of thing, I was with it. I was with it. You sure that was mid to late 90s? Well, that might have been mid to late 90s. Yeah. No, I would definitely say mid to late 90s. Yeah, I remember because like I was in high school. I was in high school when when NWO made that comeback. Okay, and I graduated 2001, and they started falling off around 2001. So like my senior year, they had started falling off. That's when WWF, bounced. They made a comeback with like The Rock and Stone Cold. I remember that. They made a comeback. When once Stone Cold, really blew up, that's when WWF started to make a comeback. But it was a brief moment in between, the WWF, Hulk Hogan era, and in between the WWF Hulk Hogan era and that Stone Cold and Rock era of WWF, where WCW was kicking their ass. I forgot WWF even existed for a while. But no, I'll play it one more time, then we'll move on, because the shit is just hilarious. Whoever, Jessieville for putting this together. It's funny. I actually know how to do this kind of stuff, but that's real tedious, putting all them heads on people and then making them move with this. I know how to do it. Someday in the future, I may see me putting together little stuff like this, but to have that many moving parts, that was a lot of tedious work. But good on him. This was funny as fuck.
Semblance of a match started here, but the purpose, there's the following. The purpose here has not been to win a title, I don't think. It's to dismantle the world champion.
Sure, they're trying to injure. They're trying to hurt Sting. No question about it.
I don't care how tough that man is. There's nothing he can do with 10 guys in that ring.
Here comes the edge. Outside.
All right, there it is. No, good stuff. I definitely shout out. But all right, let's go ahead and get into a few things. Got a few things on the table, and I don't got nobody in the back. Y'all make sure you hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button. About to dive into a number of things here as soon as I get my stuff together. There we go. This was something that hold on. All right, here we go. And see, I don't got that right. I died laughing when I saw this. Some of the stuff that women post on why can't I get in the picture? God damn it. All right. Some of the stuff that women post on Instagram. We're gonna get into that main topic and break down this study real soon. But I gotta have some fun with some of this stuff. Gotta have some fun with some of this stuff. Some of the stuff that women post on Instagram be too damn funny. This chick actually posted, "Please wear cologne." She posted, "Please wear cologne that matches your face. Got me turning around for foolishness." Yes. look, look good, smell good, be the best version of yourself. What did Kevin Samuels say? I'm here to make men look good, smell good, and be the best version of yourself. But if the best version of yourself is still ugly, that cologne apparently ain't doing it. The cologne apparently is not gonna get you in the game. I said before, you can't go wrong smelling good, but I looked at this like funny. Like this was funny as hell. Chicks be smelling dudes cologne, turning around, and then like, oh shit, oh no, never mind. Shout out to Jesse Fields in the building. He says, Bernard Riley, I am the originator of the video. Thank you for the shout out, bro. Yes, okay, yes, absolutely, man. That was funny. You read my mind. That was my vision. I was like, Coach Greg Adams body slammed him, and everybody came by and leg dropped him. And that's what I was thinking in my head. And you embodied that. So man, good work. Y'all go subscribe to him. Go subscribe to him while you're at it. And I don't even think I even fully realized that you got a channel going over there. I don't even think I fully realized that. But yeah, definitely go subscribe to him. Y'all type in Jesse Field III. It's easy to pop up, or moderators could drop the link in the chat. But no, I do appreciate it. Another thing I want to get into. Now, this was another interesting one as well. Now, I brought this up yesterday, and y'all probably thought I was lying. When I said it yesterday, that I saw something on Instagram that said tomorrow my abortion baby's birthday. Might put something on a grill. I don't know yet. I have questions. Like, is the birthday like the day you aborted, or the would-be day that the baby would have been born? I do have those questions. But nevertheless, like, what birthdays are celebrations. People come, have a good time, party, and bring gifts. Like, what do you do at an abortion baby's birthday party? I'm these are questions that I have when I'm scrolling down Instagram and I see stuff like this. Now, this isn't my personal. It's just somebody post a major. I actually covered up their logo because I'm petty and I put my logo over it. But a major, media outlet did that posted this. So ribs and chicken feet. No. Okay, trying to figure out what's on the menu. What's on the menu at an abortion baby's birthday party? Is that what you're trying to figure out? I'm trying to figure out, is it the date of the abortion? Are you celebrating the abortion, or are you mourning the loss? Like, when I first read it, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, she feels remorse and she's gonna never forget this day. So, she want family around. But I'm like, no, this sounds like she wouldn't call it an abortion baby birthday. And put something on the grill. If you're putting something on the grill, then that means it's drinks, and that mean y'all partying. Y'all sing. Y'all, it sounds like that. So I'm trying to figure out: is this like a sort of like a? I need moral support from family in this situation, or do I need or are the homegirls coming over and we turning up and drinking and playing the baby daddy free song? That song where they made an abortion rap song. Chick was like, and I got murder on my mind. Like, I never even played the stuff on here. A few people played it on their channel. I didn't even want to play it. I didn't know if it's copyrighted, but I didn't even want to play it. I listened to it one time and was like, no. But so that's what I was trying to figure out when I read this. Does she need moral support because you feel bad, or are they turning up? That's what I was trying to figure out. But no, there's stuff like this, like that's an outright messed up social media post if I never saw one. Outright messed up social media post. And shout out to Keep It 100 on this one. Shout out to Keep It 100 on this one. I don't know if he was the originator or the creator of this, but it was good. I was thinking about making something like this, not quite like this. I probably still will make one. But he said, what feminists, well, it says, shout out to Keep It 100. He's the original, he's the one who I saw posted. I don't know if he made it. He probably would have used black people if he made it. So I'm assuming somebody white made it. But either way it go, the point hits. What feminists think the gender war is, here's this superhero, red hair, Captain Feminist woman with the red hair, purple cape, and you probably can't see it, but if you zoom in, it's like a fist in the air with the symbol for a woman, and it looked like she's fighting against some excuse me, fighting against some corporate greed, patriarchal madman type. It looks like that's what she thinks she's fighting against. I gotta rise up against the evil domineering patriarchy. And then at the bottom is showing, okay, well, what is the gender war really about? And I've done some streams where I said, what does victory in a gender war look like? I've done streams on that where I've talked about that. And truth be told, once you take away all the fluff and the feathers, once you take away all the critique and criticism of everything that women do and feminism and everything, the reason the manosphere came into existence, the manosphere came into existence is for it's a number of reasons, but for a lot of people, it was the realization that the lower right hand corner image is no longer is not as probable of a thing. Is not as probable of a thing. The culture and society, everything is moving in the opposite direction of that. And that's a big part of the reason why the manosphere came into existence. And shout out to Pearly Things, even though everybody talking about how she, kicked Hafi's ass in the debate. He made himself look like an idiot, but I don't think she really, at the beginning of the debate, she broke things down real good. I'll just highlight the one thing she broke down real good. But it was a lot of stuff that I think she just kind of just punted on. She even admitted when she was on Anton that she said she was a deer in the headlights, and she even thought she said she considered not even posting it. So that tells me that my perception of it is similar to how she felt about it. Like she was completely caught off guard. She thought they was going to agree. She said she didn't even know that he had just did. She didn't see what he had just did on the Valuetainment show when he was on there with debating Coach Greg Adams. She said she didn't even see that. So she said she didn't even see that. And so she came in thinking that they were going to agree. And then when he came in saying, okay, well, if you're going to play that game, okay, now I see what kind of conversation we're going to have here. So if we're going to have that conversation, we'll do that. And she's just sitting there like, what the fuck are you talking about? What game am I playing? What? Like she was basically explaining she was legit confused and just deer in headlights while he was just blah, 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 all over the place. But he talked all over her and was her all over the place, just throwing so many scattershot points against the wall. I don't think she adequately responded to all that shit, and I don't think she could. And I don't even know if it would have been a good idea for her to even try to take him to task on every little thing, because he just said so much wild, wacky, all over the place stuff. But one thing, when it was a decent conversation in the beginning, one thing that she did say is that when it comes to the manosphere of the red pill space, and I'm going to steal this from her a lot, everybody's description is the same, but the prescription is different. People give a different prescription, but the description of the problem, everybody analyzes that pretty much the same way, but the different people have a different prescription of what you do to deal with the problem. But the problem that took place is a lack of what we see in the lower right-hand corner of this picture. There started being a lack of what we've seen in the lower right-hand corner of this picture, or a society or a culture or women that weren't conducive to that, what we see in the lower right-hand corner of this picture. And then guys can see that and can adequately describe the state of things and why it became that way, how it became that way. And then what it turns out, and that's what more or less sparked what I from my perspective, that sparked the manosphere to come into existence. And now what people do with it are different things. What people do with it are different things. How people respond to that. Some people accept it, embrace it, adjust to it in their own way. Some people, some people manage it. People manage it and deal with it different ways. Not dealing with the women in the West is one way to do it. It is like a MGTOW political protest aspect of it. There's a men's right activist protest of it. There's a just advocating for men and boys aspect of it. That is it's and there's these bitches ain't shit, so just fuck on them and then be on about your day, but don't get caught up with them and don't take them too serious because you'll get in more trouble if you go that way. So there's but everybody's description as to why we got to move the way we're moving is the same. Everybody's description as to why, but that picture in the lower right hand corner, that being what it is, or the lack of that, or a society or culture that's not conducive to that anymore. And then the opposite over there, the the frumpy not the frumpy red or pink haired woman who's over there by herself. And if I would have made this, when I make mine, she's gonna be over there with some kids by herself. She's gonna be over there with some kids. I'm gonna make one with a chick with a baby on her head. But we talking frumpy, fat, overweight, very very just combative, incorrigible, just women, the most unmarriageable women to walk the earth going on right now. The most unmarriageable women to walk the earth going on right now. And that's what's on the left. And that's what it's really for. Is their right to be that on the left versus what works on the right. Talking about the bottom half of the picture. So they think they're fighting against some patriarchal man in a suit, some Wizard Kelly, some Wizard of Oz, some man behind the scenes, behind the curtain, pulling the levers of patriarchy that's oppressing them. But no, really, they're fighting against actual family structure. That's truly what they're fighting. And I had a debate with a woman on somebody else's channel, and one of the topics that came up was a gender war and who's winning it. And I said, in terms of the arguments that are being made online, I was like, men are definitely winning it because the manosphere talking points, ideas, and concepts are all over the place. All over the place. They're everywhere. You can't even have a conversation about none of this stuff without red pill and manosphere seeping into the conversation. So in that sense, it's definitely winning it. But when she countered, she was saying things like, nope, look at the low birth rate, look at the out of wedlock birth rate. She named a bunch of other things that were bad. And I'm like, that's winning? You like saying no? She basically was like, no, us women are women. Us women are winning this gender war because look how many single mothers it is. Like she's basically saying that's the goal. If for them, the goal is to not need men. For men, one of the goals, not the only goal, but one of the goals is to have a society that functions and is conducive for men to actually for there to be actual families at a relatively high rate and produce relatively decent human beings at a relatively high rate. That is an acceptable goal. Families on a man's terms. That is one of the goals that I would say that was set out here. Now, if somebody is in protest mode, like ain't no families jumping off in this environment until this environment change, ain't nothing jumping off. That's a perfectly acceptable position to take. But for them, the victory is singlehood and ability to thrive and not need men, and to be frumpy and fat like the chick on the lower left, and and not face any criticism for it. To not face any criticism for any of the actions, any sluttery, anything going on. They no criticism. Don't say anything about it. Don't critique me. I'm good. I can be the victim and the queen. The shout out to the term victim queen. All of that. That's victory from them. Freedom, protection from criticism. That's victory. Men shutting up. That's victory. men yielding and being in relationships with us more or less, on their terms. On their terms, accepting the deal. Shout out to Game Changer in the building, talking about the old he talked about the old deal where there could be even, high earning guys doing well in their early 40s who still will wife up 40 plus baby mamas and stuff. Like, that's the old deal. That's the old deal that they want to operate on. That's victory for them. Those are the things that they view as victory. But victory, but with victory in the gender war, or to read what it says right there, what feminists think the gender war is, but versus what it really is. That's what it really is right there on the right. On the right. And keep in mind, for somebody straw man this, I'm not saying go dive on grenades. I'm just saying a functional situation. A functional situation with a family is what's missing and what's lacking. What's missing and what's lacking. But all right. We're about to go ahead and get into this. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the like button. Let people know that you're in here. Hit the like button. That lets people know that you're in here. Freeman's Journal in the building says Bernard Riley, upper middle class white women aren't afraid of the word settle. Case in point. I email that to me. I think I always ask you to email me stuff and you don't do it. Email me. Email me if that's relevant to the show today. I would like to take a look at it or use it for later. But right now, I can't do nothing with that. I don't even got YouTube pulled up. But okay, we're about to get into this. All right, cool. He said he'd email it. All right, we're about to get into this. The topic in the title here.
New research finds class matters a lot less in.
Let's go ahead and dive right into it. We about to step in it. Let me take a quick sip. And let's get ready to go. I'm going to give minimal commentary while this is playing because my conclusion at the end is the more important part. So I'm going to give minimal commentary while this is playing. So without further ado, let's go.
America when it comes to economic mobility for Black males. Income inequality is often cited as an important factor in holding people back. But a new analysis suggests Black boys and Black men face economic disadvantages even if they start off from a similar point of income and wealth as their white counterparts. Yamiche El-Sindor is back with our conversation.
A new study released this week underscores just how big a gap African American males face when it comes to moving up the economic ladder. Some of the findings are dramatic. White boys who grow up in rich households are likely to remain that way. Black boys who are also
Wait a
raised
minute.
at the
I didn't
top
mean to click on that.
more likely to become
My
poor
bad.
instead of staying up the
I'm
economic
botching the show.
ladder.
All right.
Some of the findings are dramatic. White boys who grow up in rich households are likely to remain that way. Black boys who are also raised at the top are more likely to become poor instead of staying wealthy in their own adult households. Black boys fare worse than white boys in 99% of America, even when children grow up next to each other with parents who earn similar incomes. Raj Chetty of Stanford University.
All right, right there, just real quick. Just want to lay it out and make it plain, just in case anybody missed what essentially was said there. They're saying that even when Black boys grow up in good environments and good starts, they on average don't do as well as white boys into adulthood at a higher percentage rate. They didn't exactly say what percentage, but they said at a higher percentage rate they're likely to end up, they're more likely than white boys to grow up and end up being poor or middle class or not staying in the upper class at a higher percentage rate. That's essentially it right there. Nothing wrong with that statement right there. And I do look at stuff like that and say, hey, as Black men, yeah, we got work to do to close those gaps, And you can argue me or fight me on the we part of it, fist in the air. We got to do this as a people. what is it called? Save SY. I forgot what it's called. I'm not repping that, but I do want to see black men do better. So yeah. So right now, so far, so good. Nothing wrong with pointing that out. I have my reasons as to why, what I think the big differences is, but we'll get into that. I'll save a lot of it for my conclusion, but let's go.
Is one of the co-authors of this study. He joins me now. Thank you so much, Raj, for being here. This report seems to indicate that black men will fare worse than white men, even if they are raised in households with similar incomes. Can you explain what's happening there?
Yeah, so one of the most striking findings of the study to us was that even if you take black and white boys raised in families at exactly the same income level, even at high income levels, you see that black boys end up with very different outcomes on average relative to white men. They're less likely to complete high school, they're less likely to go to college, they have significantly lower.
How less likely? I wish they would have put the how less likely in there. Trying to find the exactly how less likely for black boys who was raised in the upper class to stay in the upper class, or how less likely they are than white boys who grew up upper class to not make it, to not stay in the upper class as adults. That's hard scattershot data to find. So if he got the answer sway, I wish he would have put them in there instead of just saying less likely. Okay, how less likely? I really wanted to know that. It's hard to find it.
Earnings in adulthood. And that phenomenon, interestingly, applies. You see that black boys end up with very different outcomes on average relative to white men. They're less likely to complete high school, they're less likely to go to college, they have significantly lower earnings in adulthood. And that phenomenon, interestingly, applies really only to black men. When we look at black versus white women, you see much more similarity in their outcomes if they grow up in families of similar incomes. So it's something unique to what's happening to black men in America that I think is really a concern for generations going forward in terms of perpetuating inequality by race.
And that inequality.
And keep in mind before we go forward, I've seen 3 so far. Black women taking that information right there and they talking shit, they beating their shit, they talking their shit, they beating their chests, grabbing their nuts, talking their shit about it. Like, yeah, y'all are the problem. Y'all are the problem. We about to break down. There's a variable in this that's not really being fleshed out, and I'm gonna crack the code on it. I'm gonna crack the code on it. I've heard lots of intelligent people talk about this, and nobody mentions what I'm going to mention after we get this video done.
It's really striking to me. One of the things that this study reports is that African American men who grow up in households with 2 parents that are earning $140,000, they fare about the same as a white young man who is raised by a single mother making just $60,000. How can that be true? Because it feels so counterintuitive. And what does that mean for African American families and their futures?
Yeah, what you're getting at really is the finding that there's a great deal of downward mobility in black families. So you would have thought intuitively, that's what we expected going in, is when you get to a certain income level, maybe racial disparities disappear, that at some point kind of escape the poverty trap. But that really doesn't seem to be the case. Even once your parents reach a high income level, it continues to be the case that black men have higher odds of essentially ending up in the bottom of the income distribution than staying at the top of the income distribution. And that's why you get this pattern that black men's outcomes look comparable to white men growing up in relatively low or middle income families.
You mentioned in the study that there are unique obstacles that black men face. Are we, just to be clear, are we talking about racism and
Give the
racial
teaser
bias?
trailer of one of my conclusions here. A white boy growing up in 60,000, that's about middle class. Okay, that's about middle class. A white boy growing up about $60,000 in a $60,000 a year household with a single mom. Two parents are great things. Black people definitely need two parent households, and they touch on that, and that's one of the things that do equalize it, that help close gaps when you're talking about that. However, when you're talking about somebody's income, we're talking about them coming out of high school. We don't talk about this enough, but what are they scoring on these standardized tests? And those standardized tests are predictors of what kind of majors in college they will excel in, and what kind of majors at college they will excel in, i.e. STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, not STEAM with the arts, because they try to throw arts in there, for people with fashion design degrees and stuff, not taking a jab at anybody. STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, those are where the high income, high earning, high paying jobs are. So what I'm looking at here is that a white boy growing up, middle class, around 60,000, white single mother, is that doesn't stop him from scoring high on the math section of the SAT test. That doesn't stop him from scoring high on the math section of the SAT test, and getting a degree in engineering. So you can grow up in that situation and still be just as likely. Apparently white guys are just as likely to score high enough on the math. hit dog hollering. White boys are just as likely to white boys are just as likely as a black person growing up in a upper middle class 2-parent household with making $140,000 a year, to grow up and be raised and cultured in a way, or guided in the way, to where they're going to grow up and score high on the high enough on the math and science section of the SAT test, to where they will basically perform well in STEM degrees in college. Because contrary to popular belief, you can't just be somebody who's just getting by in school, or just doing good and just doing okay in school, and then graduate high school and say, I'm going to be an engineer. No, it don't work that way. You got to be having engineer level performance leading up to enrolling into engineering classes, if you plan to succeed in them. There are some people who were bad students by choice. They knew how to do it, they could have done it, but they just didn't give a shit. But then late in the game, they said, all right, I'm about to get it together. I'm grown now, I'm about to get it together. And those will do well. But typically you have to be on a path to do that. You have to be on a path to do it. So we could look at the path. We can look at the path that people are being put on. And so there's that. But I want to save some of my conclusion to the end. But that's just a teaser trailer of some of it, of just a maybe 15% of it, because they're saying they're making that argument. They're making that case. Well, women don't have that problem. When women are raised in the upper middle class or upper class, they stay there, or as far as their individual income, not family income, they're talking about individual income. Their individual income stays there at the same rate that white women does. Basically, a black woman growing up upper middle class, and a white girl growing up upper middle class, compared to a black girl growing up upper middle class, they're going to go to college and perform at roughly the same rate, and roughly have the same career options, and roughly make the same money. That's essentially what the study is saying.
Or what are those unique obstacles that black men in particular face?
Yeah, so to try to get at that, we look at how this varies across different parts of the country. So look neighborhood by neighborhood and ask, are there some neighborhoods in America where you see small black-white gaps, or perhaps black men doing better than white men? And surprisingly, you find essentially no such areas. In 99% of neighborhoods in America, you see better outcomes for white men than black men. Now, digging in deeper, you can ask, where do we see relatively good outcomes for black men? And there are a couple of factors that pop out from that analysis. One, you see that areas with larger rates of father presence in homes among black men, you have better outcomes for black boys there. So if they're
Ding, 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 ding. The thing that we've been saying from the jump, every study confirms that. And then when you look at, the breakdown in black families, and when we when we say that there are perfectly good black men, or decent black men with good dad qualities and characteristics, Are those the ones that you're picking and choosing and reproducing with? We get called some dirty macking incel losers who can't get no pussy. But the fact of the matter is, we'll go back to this, right? We'll go back to that right there. We can go back to that right there. If you're talking about outcomes, who's reproducing with who makes a big difference about whether or not we're going to, have functioning, thriving Black people, or if we rather not we're going to have idiocracy. Whether or not Black America is going to be functional or is going to be bizarro land. That there it is. It does. A lot of it comes down to with who's reproducing with who. So, but the manosphere came in and threw down the coup de grace. What I thought, where everybody else analyzed this, so they blew in the face, talk about racism, talk about this, talking about that. Nobody else really examined black female mating choices. Nobody truly examined that into the Black manosphere. Nobody truly examined whether or not a dude with zero dad qualities and already got kids he ain't taking care of is getting free reign raw sexual access to women in the community at a significantly higher rate than those type of guys in other communities. Nobody ever really examined that. And we get criticized for examining it. But if every indicator shows that functional families is what produces better outcomes for Black people, then and they're talking to they blue in the face about why aren't Black people having this outcome or that outcome, then we got to put that on. We do got to put that on the table.
More two-parent families, particularly among African-American households, you see better outcomes for Black boys. And second, you see that areas with lower levels of racial bias among whites tend to have better outcomes for Black men. So those are a couple of the factors that I think could be associated with these better outcomes, but I think more remains to be understood in terms of exactly what's driving these really sharp differences.
Gotcha. And I want to talk about the differences between Black women and Black men. There are some critiques out there, critics of the study out there that are arguing that Black women who don't have long-term incomes weren't counted in your study. Is that accurate? And could you talk a little bit about your findings of Black women and the data that you used?
Yeah, so we include everyone. So the power of the study is that we're able to track, using anonymized data, about 20 million Americans from birth to adulthood, people born in the early 1980s whose incomes we're looking at in their late 30s. And that includes everyone, whether you're working or not. Every single person is counted. And so if you're not working, you're assigned an income of 0 and you're counted in the study. And what we show is that even taking that into account, Black women, conditional on growing up in a family that's at the same income level as white women, they end up with very similar outcomes. They have similar levels of earnings, similar wage rates, similar college attendance rates. They work at similar rates. So it's really remarkable how for women, you don't see that much of a Black-white disparity, very starkly different from men. Now, I should emphasize, that doesn't mean that women are...
Now, so that's pretty much it. He said some other things. He was going to go on to say that doesn't mean that he's basically going to go on to say that because white women marry white men, they their overall household income is higher, but their individual income is on par, comparable to Black women. So that makes Black women, a lot of Black women online, they basically say, aha, see, we're keeping up, we're keeping pace, we're thriving, y'all are falling behind, y'all ain't on y'all job, because look, we're able to keep up. We're able to keep up with white women, particularly when they have a start where they start out upper middle class. They're able to keep up with white women. There's not a major gap there when Black women come out of upper middle class households. Now, the major variable in here that they don't really introduce or they don't really speak to is white women and how good white women are not doing. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? if you look at and compare black men to black men, particularly black men who, you know, grew up upper middle class, and white men who grew up upper middle class. We're talking about white men who grew up upper middle class or upper class. We're talking about white men. We're talking about white men who, you know, who grew up in the best environment, definitely went to, you know, definitely were fast tracked or guided in a way to probably end up in the STEM fields. We're talking about people who are raised, you know, more or less to high perform and do well. They getting a lot of those STEM degrees that we talk about: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. White men, particularly white men who grew up in the upper class, they're getting engineering STEM degrees at a very, very high rate. In order for black men to keep pace to keep pace with that, they would have to get an amount of STEM degrees that does not line up or remotely line up, not even in the least bit, with the data, that don't even line up in the least bit with the data. Now, what do I mean by that? We're talking about essentially the math section of the SAT, the math and science section of the SAT. The small sliver that you could barely see, the light blue sliver at the top, that's how many black people, that's the percentage of black people, 2% all the way up at the top, the far right column. That's the percentage of black people that score really high on that, in the highest percentile. In the next highest percentile, we're talking 2% of black people score up there. That dark blue, that's Asians, even though they're small, you know, that's that's the percentage of them scoring all the way up there to score in that percentile. Very small percentage of population scoring very, very high. When you move it down, you start seeing where black people are scoring. Okay. Now, the catch is, and what they would be essentially asking black boys to do, is basically they're growing up in these the scores in through middle school and high school are the scores. The scores in middle school and high school are the scores. To say that they are to graduate middle school and high school, regardless of where their class, their you know their socioeconomic status growing up as a child is, to say that they're going to score a certain way, a lower way, they're going to have lower test scores, but then somehow graduate high school and then just walk into STEM in you know, perform exactly like white men, I mean white boys. That's kind of ridiculous. But then they ask the question, okay, but then how are black women doing it? The variable that they're not averaging into the equation is that white women, even though this doesn't break it up between men and women, but white women, they score in the math and science section of the SAT, the ACT, and all of that. They score in that section pretty much equal to how white men score in that section. This is an important part. They score in that section well enough to where they could score and qualify and get in and succeed and excel in in the STEM fields pretty much at the same rate as white men. They just choose not to. They go ahead and they get that. They get, shout out to Jackie Jack. They go and get those fashion degrees and those basket weaving degrees, even though they score high enough to rank up there and get just as many STEM degrees as white men. They choose not to do it. They choose not to do it. They choose to take easy degrees. And so when white women take easy degrees, because they, you know, they have the option to go into STEM and do well. All the test scores show that they could do it if they wanted to do it. They don't want to do it. So technically they're underperforming where their test scores indicate that they should perform. You know, white girls essentially do better than white boys in school. They they do well enough to where they could go into STEM and maybe not dominate it, but be right behind white men. Be right behind white men. They choose not to do it. And so because they choose not to do that and they go to school and they get their degrees in basket weaving, just like black women, and black women are going to get those degrees in basket weaving because after all, they don't score high enough. Their test scores are just very similar to black men test scores. Now black women do a little better in school, but overall their test scores are down. They're low. They're down there. They're down there with black men. They're in the same boat with us as far as their test scores. They're in the same boat with us. A little bit better, but in the same boat. They're not just overachieving. They're not they're not, doing like Asian men and white and they're not doing like Asian people and white people when it comes to the math and science section. So they can't go into STEM either. White women can. White women can, but they choose not to. They choose not to. And as a result of them choosing not to do that, their income ends up looking like this. Their income, look at white women in the second, right there, over to the right under Asian women. Look at white women. Their income ends up being very similar to black male income, but a little over, and comfortably over black female income. So that's technically, so when they're making that comparison about how upper class black girls do, and comparing them to how upper class white women do, who could kick ass and dominate in STEM fields and make a lot of money like white men, because based off their standardized test scores, they could go into that and excel and kick ass and achieve in that. They choose not to go into those fields, so they end up with income ratios and percentages similar to black women. But they're looking at this and saying, well, why are black women not facing whatever problem the black men are facing? Why aren't black women facing it? Well, they're obviously not facing it because white women are essentially jogging. Black women are running full speed, and they're keeping pace with a group of people that's jogging. But in order for black men to keep pace with white men in terms of economics and STEM degrees and money and all of that, we would literally have to perform in STEM in a way that that our test scores indicate as boys that we're not there. And when I talk about the test scores and we're not there, I mean, I'm talking about black men and black women in that one. I'm talking about black girls and black boys. Black girls are in many ways, and they're doing a little better. I mean, they're doing better educationally. I always say that, all women do better than their men in terms of education, but all men do better than their women in terms of making money. Black people are in the same boat. I say that all the time. But even when we talk about the whole reading thing, in the same article, the same study that highlighted that only 12% of black boys read, are proficient in reading. That same study showed that 18% of black girls are proficient in reading. They ass can't read either. They ass can't read either. So here's the deal. This is what this article says. Basically, you could just Google black girls reading proficiency 18%. You could just Google that, and then you'll find this article and a lot of other articles. But it say, why are black girls having such a difficult time learning to read? Why has America been so silent? We hear so much about the fact that only 12% of black boys in the 8th grade are proficient in reading. While we understand black boys are on life support, black girls are in critical condition. Have black girls been overlooked? Now, I like the amount of attention that's being given to black boys in their issues with reading, because I want that problem to be fixed. But what's funny is that they took that the black boys reading at that 12% level, and they use it. They use it in a way in these online spaces as a way to kind of dump on and talk shit, say, you niggas can't read or whatever. That's kind of what they're doing. But they ass can't read either. they ass can't read either. But the point that I'm making is that black people, black male and female, if you're talking about boys and girls and how they were raised, and then where they end up, whether they was raised upper middle class, whether they stay in that upper middle class, that has a lot to do with whether or not they're scoring well enough academically to do well in STEM when they get to college and get degrees in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Black boys aren't doing well enough growing up through school to do that, and black girls are not doing well enough to school to do that. White boys are doing well enough through school to do that. White boys are doing well enough in school to do that. White girls are doing well enough through school to do that, but they choose not to. They choose not to, so their income is similar or closer in comparison to black people. So because white women's income is closer in comparison to black people, when they do a study like this and they say, let's compare how white men turn out compared to how black men turn out. Oh, white men are doing so much better. Let's compare how white women turn out to compare to how black women turn out. It's closer because, like I said, white women are jogging. White women are jogging. So it's a few premises. It's a few premises that I'm laying that I'm more or less laying out here. If we can accept if we can accept these simple points here, and this basically explains the problem. Okay, that's a weird question. That's why I've been annoying the chat. Are there any educated engineers in here? Anyway, if we can accept that when you're a kid and you're growing up through school, how you're taught and how you're educated at school or at home, both from kindergarten to 12th grade is going to determine how well you're going to do on these standardized tests. If we can accept that how well you do on the math and science section of these standardized tests is going to determine, generally how well you're going to do in science, technology, engineering, mathematics degrees when you get in college. And if we can accept that science, technology, engineering, mathematics degrees in college results in you getting jobs in the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field, and if we could accept that that is the thing that makes the difference economically in how much money you're going to make, then we have to then accept that black people, black boys and black girls coming out of high school, there's very low chance that either of them are going to produce and get as many STEM degrees to make the money that white men or Asian men are making. It's just not going to happen. But if we accept all of those premises and we accept that white girls score well enough on the math and science section of the standardized tests, and they could go into the STEM fields in college and get STEM degrees, but they choose not to. And as a result of that, their income is similar to black women, making a comparison of how, and saying that black women are doing well because their income is similar to somebody who could be doing better, but they're doing worse, talking about white women, because black women's income is similar to somebody who could be doing better, but they're doing worse. To look at that and then look at that as some damning indictment on black men. But the variable that I see going on here is white women doing worse than what they technically should be doing by their own personal choices, and that puts them closer to black people. But they're looking at that, and they're looking at that closeness between black women and black women and white women, and saying, black women keeping pace, black men, you're not keeping pace. Why aren't you keeping pace with white men who are, other than Asian men, who are leading the way in science, technology, engineering, mathematics degrees? I go back here. We're talking about kids here. We're talking about the SAT test. We're talking about a test that you take, around 11th and 12th grade. We go back here. If they're not doing good here, they're not going to compete with white and Asian men in terms of getting STEM degrees in college. If they're not doing good here, and they're not going to compete with white men and Asian men in terms of getting STEM degrees in college, then they're not economically going to make as much money as white and Asian men. And then so using that to basically shit on black men, like a lot of channels are doing right now, using that to kind of shit on black men, and then throwing a black girl magic parade and saying that, hey, we're doing well because we're we're doing well because we're closer in comparison to our white counterpart who's essentially jogging, even though they could be running and making the same amount of money as white men, and be completely dunking on y'all. It's like it turns into a disingenuous argument. The facts of what they're talking about in the study is true, but the surrounding analysis and not averaging in the variable that white women could get those STEM degrees and make significantly more than black women, but they're choosing not to. And choosing not to do that is something that women have the option to do when there's strong culture and family structure. They know they can get married, and they can make less money than and so forth and so on. But that's my analysis and my more or less, I use the word debunking, but I'm shedding light on something that's swept under the rug when it comes to this study. It's almost like an elephant in the room that they're not exactly adequately looking at, examining, and complaining. Now, just comparing black men to white men by themselves, without the bullshit smuggled in straw man argument that everybody tries to use. And they initially, because I've heard Ben Shapiro use this study to try to debunk racism. And to some degree, I mean, I know where I'm at. I don't complain about racism and the victim narrative and all that. I don't do that shit. But a lot of people use this study to debunk the idea and the concept of racism. And then normally the counter to it is, well, black men face a different type of racism than what black women face. And then black women says, well, I'm a double minority, not realizing that being a double minority is essentially what helped you get more jobs. But that's neither here nor there. And then that's why, if I would have played the rest of the tape, he did talk about my brother's keeper and all kind of stuff like that, initiatives to basically help black men the same way that black women got help. Like, those things and those factors matter, but the meat, and I understand that aspect of the argument, but the reason that this argument even exists is because they're taking somebody, white women, who's basically choosing not to go full speed, and so their income is closer to black people. And then so that makes them basically just essentially say, black women are, closer in respect to white women than what, black men are to white men. And why not? But they're not averaging the most important variable into the equation. They're not averaging the most important variable into the equation. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. Jackie Jack says, let's go STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. No, STEAM doesn't exist. STEAM is a participation trophy for those who couldn't get into STEM. Speaking of that, you said on the air one time that you got real good grades and you was real smart and got good grades in high school, but see, you still went and got a degree in basket weaving. Like, that's essentially what white women do. They be smart enough to go into STEM, but they go they go into STEAM. You just like them. But either way, Brenda Muema in the building says, yes, STEAM for Jackie Jack, but she is an engineer for clothing. Oh, okay, she's a clothing engineer. Sees her invention in her mind and uses math and science to make it happen creatively. Okay, you made a compelling case. I actually did a show on that a while ago when I had Keep It Techie on, and Jackie Jack came up, and she made her case for STEAM because she said she have to, she designs clothes, she got to cut patterns and basically do some high school geometry, and she was like, that's in there. That's STEAM, goddammit. Shout out to RM saying the super chat is open. Absolutely feel free to hit the super chat while you're at it. Appreciate everybody in the stream. 3 people contributed so far. Maybe somebody came through on the Cash App, and I will check that momentarily. But Perfect Storm in the building says black women get affirmative action jobs. Now plug that variable in. I don't even have to plug that variable in. I really don't. That variable does not have to get plugged in based off my analysis of it. But Deanie in the building says, BR, I sent you an email of NSBE's gender breakdown. All right, I will give that a look. I appreciate when people send emails during the show instead of just dropping it scattershot into the chat room. I do appreciate that. Let me all right, we're an hour and 14 minutes in. We are an hour and 14 minutes in, 223 people in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. I'll put the link in the chat room. I'll put the link in the chat room. The link is in the chat. Send me that, Osama Abdu. Send me that. He says, Black men have made major strides in the last 10 years. The Brookings Institute did a fantastic write-up on this. I think I know which one you're talking about, but send it to me anyway. Send it to me anyway. Yeah, I got me thrown off because I'm trying to figure out. Oh, shout out to Nick Taylor. He sent me an email saying, keep it 100 and I watched each other's stuff. That meme is from my community post. I clipped it from an article on a website quite a few years ago, screenshot it and cropped it. But hey, I don't have an issue with anyone clipping anything from either of my channels. Have at it. But he's saying it's okay. So you're the I didn't know where it came from, but I thought it was pretty damn cool. And I had plans, big visions, and big dreams of making something like that myself. I had plans on making something like that myself. Deanie, what email did you send it to? Because I do not see anything here. I do not see anything here. Oh, wait, no. Okay, I know why I don't see it. Yeah, I got two different emails. So I'm sorry for the dead air. Deanie, you didn't send me a damn thing. Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. So we may examine that, but the link is in the chat. Anybody want to come up and get a piece of this conversation? Anybody want to come up and get a piece of this conversation? Yeah, this is looking like one that I'm going to have to examine before I just put it up. This is looking like one that I'm going to have to examine before I put it. They accounted for non-binary people in the, what the hell? Yeah, I don't understand what I'm seeing here. I don't understand what I'm seeing here. Yeah. National Society of Black Engineers. Yes, BR doesn't seem to know what is going on when it comes to STEM degrees. Come on up, Deanie. I know all the research and evidence and everything that I've ever looked at, men get more STEM degrees than women. Everything I've ever looked at, and I apologize for the dead air. I'm doing a lot behind the scenes here. I'm doing a lot behind the scenes, so I do apologize for the dead air. I have an inability to do two things at one time. But Patriarchy Strikes Back is coming up here to save me because I was really fumbling, trying to figure something out. But I can pass him the mic. What is going on?
Are you getting back at your queens today, or what?
What you mean getting back at them?
the conversation about, disproving, I guess, claims that they're making.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do on this channel. I kind of counter, debunk, and refute bullshit when it attempts to take a shit on black men. I tend to counter, refute, and debunk it. Yeah.
Well, that's already done. I mean, it's, in terms of taking a shit, I think that they've basically had diarrhea on the black man for the last 50 to 60 years. And I don't know if these debunking things are actually working. My opinion is I had an interesting conversation with somebody yesterday. Um, and he was telling me about, he was an older white guy, and he was telling me about, oh, well, America will never fall because, all the people here have the right to bear arms. And I told him how useless that was because of social media. Because I'm a single issue voter now.
Hmm.
Whoever's gonna do something about the social media cancel culture will get my vote, because I think it's more powerful than guns. And so what I'll tell you is the argument I'll make to you is this. I don't even think that the women that you're talking about, and like it is regurgitated talking points, they don't need to do well statistically for them to be able to leech onto something, right? And because they can always just go get a man to do it for them. I don't
Yeah,
have to.
that's essentially what I was getting at. Well, I didn't focus on that, but I kind of touched on it in the study. White women, they don't need to do well. So that's why I said it's a moot point comparing how close black women are to white women compared to how close black men are to white men, because white women don't need to do well. They can jog and make just enough to get by and then end up and just go get with a man and they're good. So that's why that was part of the point of me debunking what I was doing. But go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so then the my question is, where do these talking points, right? Because the facts are the facts, and you did a great job outlaying the facts. Where does this lead everybody now, right? Where does this lead? What is the next step from where we are right now? If you feel that that a certain group is doing the wrong thing, when does talk, I guess, become policy or action?
Well, I'm a YouTuber, have a YouTube channel, and I talk about issues.
Yeah.
So
And you got a good
here's
YouTube
the
channel, by the way.
thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Shout out to Ike in the building down there. But no, I appreciate that. But no, I talk about the I think it's a bigger problem than what some people even understand, is that there's a high this is why the manosphere coming to existence was important. There's a high percentage of men who don't even understand the problem. So that's
Mm,
where I think is value in communicating and talking about the problem. But if there's a if there's a next step, I'm all ears. I mean, I think I'm effective at doing YouTube. But if
yeah.
there's a next step, like yeah, by all means, I'm all ears if you want to lay out where you think it should go.
Well, what I think is, I hate to say this because I don't want to be black pilled again. Nate Dogg's gonna come up here and get on me again. But I think that these conversations are over. I think that there's no need to have them any longer. I think everybody, this is what I think leads people to viewing this type of content. I don't think it's the content that confirms the world. I think it's their experiences in the world that confirms the content, right?
Hmm.
They knew that it was something about their relationships with women before they even came on YouTube to seek this stuff out. It's so evident to them in the world that they only just come on here to confirm it, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so for me, I feel that, I think that the reason why people talk is because I don't know if they have a next step, right? It becomes redundant at times, you know? It just becomes redundant, right? Like it certain shows I used to watch, maybe this entire thing is a phase, right? Because certain shows I used to watch, and podcasts I used to watch, it's borderline redundant now. It's redundancy
Yeah,
on the black woman and man relationship, or just in
I
general
think I
the woman
think
and man
I,
relationship.
all right. I think everything gets redundant after a while. I mean, I
Correct.
remember I used to. There was a podcaster called David Smalley. He had a podcast called Dogma Debate, and
Interesting.
They used to debate religion and everything, and I thought it was just the best thing on earth. They debate in science and religion is real dorky, and I loved it. After 4 years of listening to it, it got to the point to where I knew what he was going to say before he said it. I knew
Hmm.
what the person's rebuttal was going to be. I knew what his rebuttal to the rebuttal was going to be, and then I was like, you know what? I'm moving on to something else.
I got you.
So I understand if somebody gets to the point to where, they've got all they can get from, the manosphere or red pill space. I mean, I get it. You know, I don't mind people just, moving there. There's a lot of people who, they come by every now and then, like, hey, what's up, Bernard? Just dropping by, just saying, just hollering, just saying what's up. But they don't really be over here no more because the one one of them actually know where he be at. It's a whole nother sector that talks about a completely different topic that he be
Yeah.
on, and so he just gravitated. I don't mind people do that. That's cool. I don't like when people try to burn it down before they go, and a lot of people do that in this space.
Yeah.
so so that's the shit I don't like. But there will always be people talking and communicating. I mean, the news is redundant. You watch. I guarantee I could find you something on the Fox News where they're talking about
Yeah, I'm over them
so
too.
yeah, social initiatives versus
I'm over them too.
raising taxes
Yeah.
on the rich versus lowering taxes for the rich and giving versus lowering or raising it for the working class, and whether or not the working class having more money is going to stimulate the economy more versus rich people having more
Yeah.
money, and then they're going to create more jobs for the lower class, or blah 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 blah. You could
Yeah.
I could pull you up a video from 1985 with that same debate going.
Facts.
So that's where I'm at on the it's redundant. Everything is redundant.
No,
Everything, every yeah,
I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I hope I'm not coming up because I can
yeah.
at times be a little sarcastic. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, but I'm
No,
not
I
saying
think you're genuine.
your podcast is not. But there's a certain one. I don't even want to go into the name of it, but it's like, okay, bro, we get it. Women want
Put it
this,
in the
men
back
want this.
check.
Oh
Put
my
it in the
God,
back
you know
check.
exactly what I'm talking about. Hold on a second. And it's like, women want this, women want that. Oh, the wage gap and all that type of stuff. And it's like, okay, well, what what are we gonna do about this? Like, it's like, dude, like we keep hearing this stuff, and some of these guys are not the answer. I'm sorry. Like some of them are deep down, like Jordan Peterson. He's not the answer, right? Because to me, when you have one group of people who are adamant about advocating for their group and they are trying to reach victory by any means necessary, and then you have another group who all play as individuals, and there's a rule book that only they play by but the other side doesn't play by it. I will argue this. I agree with all your statistics, right? But I still think black women collectively are a unit. I still think like the way it's the teamwork that they have is absolutely amazing. And if men had that same teamwork, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. It's when you attack one of them, they all jump. They don't have to even know each other to back each other up. It really is. Just to be honest with you, let's look at this. And I know you touched on this in the beginning, but even
Mhm.
if you look at this Hafiz situation, if Hafiz, and I hate to use it, if Hafiz was a woman and was wrong, there would still be women backing him. There would still be his group would be backing him up regardless of that, and saying that another gender does not have the right to talk to him like that. And that is
Mm.
my opinion. There's no woman, the woman sitting across from him giving advice. Who do you think you are? That's still a man that you're talking to. But you come in these spaces saying that you represent men. And you come into these spaces saying that you know your role. Well, you didn't know your role in that situation.
Actually, I hear exactly what you're saying, but because I did content on the debate, I listened to the whole debate, and I think she put it like this. A lot of people, like, kind of, in my opinion, they kind of kissing her ass, saying she kicked his ass in the debate. I think she really didn't. She made a couple good points at the beginning, but overall, she let him just run roughshod, just talk all over her. Like, somebody, my bad, Deanie, my bad. Somebody, basically, somebody watching that thought it was his show. That's how much he talked all over her. So in that sense, she did kind of fall back and didn't really come at him. And I do have a problem with the chicks that, present, feminine, but when they get in a debate with one of the guys that the men in this space don't like, they'll go from lioness to hyena real fast and be real combative and talking shit and debating and barking. And so, yeah, I call that out. I said, that's not a feminine woman. That's a combative woman. She just batting for our side. So we good with it. Like, so I understand exactly what you're saying.
That person, you're still a woman to me. And it's like a child talking to an elder. I don't care. The elder can be wrong, but correct yourself, okay? And check yourself. All right? So that, like literally, and women have no right to me to correct men. I don't believe it at all. I just don't. That's my belief. That's what I honestly believe. And I'm not going to champion a woman correcting a man. I'm not going to do that, because once again, that's not their job.
Yeah,
it's not their job.
All right, I'm gonna pass it to Citizen Lou, and Deanie, please come back if you get a chance. And Brenda, I see you down there. This ain't a Brenda topic. If we was talking about this ain't a dating and relationship topic. I don't know what you're trying to add to this conversation.
And I'm
Brenda.
so over those conversations.
I know you are.
Because my opinion is that they do that to distract from real stuff. And that's why they're always going around calling people incel. Like, you think that, and I said this on another girl's channel, it's not about the problems that men and women are having with each other. It's everything to do with politics, economics, the distribution of power. That's all it has to do with. But they use dating to distract from all those things. Like the fact that these women, with all of these things that you showed, will go into a STEM field and be hired over a man, or start up a government business, or start up a business doing government contracting and be given a contract over a man. That is a real problem to me. But yet it's dating and high value and low value. It's like all the dating talk is theater to me.
It's nothing, okay. Two things. YouTube channels do need to be entertaining to get people to watch. That's one. So it is a balance between the entertainment and the important shit that need to be talked about. And secondly, the manosphere did start on talking about not necessarily just dating. It was like, I would say it was probably dating and mating adjacent, but it was really talking about just all the social dynamics between men and women. But so there's always been women were baked into the cake of this thing. And so that I don't necessarily see that, that ain't going nowhere. So but I understand if there's aspects of the conversation about women that you ain't really, going for. Like if the space go too much in the direction of, how to self-improve to get women to like you, yeah, I understand that's when you teeter into like a corny area, but self-improving is good. And not reducing the amount of issue. If you're gonna be dealing with women and dating women and fucking women, reducing your amount of issues that you're gonna have while doing that is good. But I don't want it to get into weird corniness. If you start doing that too much, you can mess around and step in a pile of shit that looks similar to Derek Jackson. So I don't want to. So I do monitor how much of that we do, but women are baked into the cake of this thing. Well,
let me just say something really quick. When's the last time we've had somebody? It's because somebody in the chat, whatever. I saw a woman in the chat. Of course, they got the questions. Oh, the woman, right? What are the solutions? I got some solutions for you. Since dating and high value and money and all, how about gender segregation in schools and workplaces? How about
Dr.
that?
T assigned Dr. T. Okay, well, I don't know if you
How
go as
about
far
that?
as the workplace, but he do talk
Why?
about
Hold on a second.
gender
Hold on a second.
separation.
Hold on a second. Why don't you make them live by their claims? If men are a problem to them in terms of sexual harassment, in terms of all of these things, right? And it's just so unfair, why don't we segregate? Because segregation, we know that it works in schools, we know that it works in universities, but we also know that if you do that, if you separate that and starve your opponent out, men, they only have what men give them. And if you separate men from them, what do you have? We like I said, in schools, we know it works. I wonder during the pandemic with all the work from home, I wonder how many false accusations there were with HR people working from home and people being separate. I'm pretty sure
People,
HR claims went down 100%, 100% at least.
nah, people was getting sexually
And
harassed
and
over Zoom
but
meetings.
hold on a second. But hold on a second. But you see this? Hold on a second. But you see this? Even the woman that said that this guy is extreme. No, I see a problem, and you asked for a solution. The same woman, being Butterfly or whatever your name is, you look like you eat a lot of butter, right? You
Uh-oh.
asked for a solution. That's a solution. You're the exact woman that said this is what I'm saying. They don't. If you're gonna go all the way. Don't half step with this. If women view men as this problem, cut your pipeline. Then let's see how many dates you get.
Mm.
Ban OnlyFans. If a politician ran tomorrow, that's the problem. And I said this on my channel, which is my channel sucks, by the way. If a politician ran tomorrow who was actually up on it on the right and said, I want to ban OnlyFans, do you know how many young men would come out and vote for that? Like, if we're going to, my problem is if these things are an issue, which they are to men, something has to be done about it. Because when women have something that they don't like collectively, right? They raise all types of hell until it gets done.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not so convinced that we'll circle back to that. I'm not so convinced that men would be really rallying to ban
Yeah,
OnlyFans.
yeah, I
I
don't
think that
think that
I
that would
think they would.
be.
I
Yeah,
think they
I don't
would
think
be.
men would get behind banning
I
OnlyFans or
I
or
think that
or, or Republicans.
I think what Republicans don't want to have solutions, but I think that the amount of money and power that young women are getting from this, it's diametrically opposed. It is an issue to younger men. It is
Yeah.
I would compare it to this, right? And this is why we're never really going to see systematic change in the United States. So there was a certain thing that happened in the late 80s or in the mid to late 80s where young 16, 17, 18-year-old black men were making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a day selling
Selling
things.
crack.
Hold on.
Okay, go
Don't
ahead.
stop. Don't do that.
All
Don't do
right,
that.
all right.
Don't
Go
do
ahead.
that.
Go ahead. You
They were
got it.
selling things to their community, which was detrimental to their community. Think
Hmm.
about that argument. You had 16, 17, 18-year-old young men who were selling things around that are detrimental to their community, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the justice system came down on that because it was detrimental to the people around them. Is pornography detrimental? Absolutely, right? Is oh, I would definitely I can argue that till the cows come home. Is pornography detrimental? Absolutely. Does an 18, 19, 20-year-old woman making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a day, right, off of selling pictures of their feet? We're supposedly in the mental health age, right? Is that damaging? Is that damaging to what people perceive as a community overall?
Okay. It's stupid. I didn't necessarily look at it as damaging to a community. It's just I've always analyzed that from a what the fuck? Like you can see feet anywhere. Like you can like I can go. I mean, I've never done it, but I'm just going to assume if I just go on Google and just type, I'm just going to type in feet pictures, and said, "Oh, ew, there's some ugly ass." Okay, maybe I know why they go and pay for very specific feet, because these some ugly ass feet on Google. So maybe if you into feet, this ain't where you want to go. God damn. But anyway, so yeah, I never even analyzed it whether or not that's okay. Oh, that's some nice feet right there. Anyway, I'm not into feet though. But anyway,
I mean,
I
the average only fan bitch only make like 200 a month though, so it's not like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You don't think what this is doing? First off, this is damage. This is what's happening right now. Is you're damaging the fabric. This is just as detrimental to, because one party says that they're all about the family, right? This is just as detrimental to a family than anything else. Women
a woman
receiving
basically, long story short, a woman being able to fast track and cheat. Oh, now I see why you brought up the crack. Hold on. Go ahead.
Number one, it's crack because of what it does to the dopamine triggers in men's heads and what it does to that type of thing, right? And it's detrimental to male health to begin with. But also, if your grandma, this is an issue, okay? The fact that a woman can take one picture of herself, right, and get more attention in an hour than your grandma or great grandma got in her entire life, that changes everything. That is not good for a family. That is not good for, because we understand that there have to be roles. It's not it's done more damage than it's done good. And there's been several arguments of certain diseases that were in this country, supposedly. I don't want to go down the road, but they made the argument that this was damaging to most of the people, so we are going to shut it down. Same thing with nicotine, same thing with all of these different things, that we are going to put limits, laws, regulations, and restrictions on this because it's not good for most people, and it's not good for people overall. And I would say that this is damaging to families in the future. And I don't think it's any coincidence that we have low birth rates when we have stuff like this.
All right, good, interesting stuff. I do gotta keep it moving and go to somebody else. But real quick before I go to Citizen Lou, shout out to JC the Conqueror in the building with the $5 super chat. I do appreciate that. Jackie Jack came through with a $5 super sticker. I do appreciate that. And Creation Muse in the building with a $4 super sticker. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. Make sure you hit the like button. Go ahead, Citizen Lou. You got the floor. You got the mic.
What's up, Eric? What's up? Salute to everybody. I just wanted to say something real quick, and I see J Speed and Nate on here. I just wanted to say I was looking at a study by JP Morgan, just kind of going with the title about black women really doing better. It said that black women businesses that were, it was about that article. They said black women are becoming the #1 entrepreneurs in America. Said the average revenue is $24,000 a year. So that whole like Goldman Sachs grant and all that, it's almost like, it's just, I'm kind of with you on that. Like it is just kind of being purported as if they're just doing way better than black men. But I think what Patrick Mahomes was saying earlier is that yeah, they are lock and step, and they are subsidized by a lot of different things. It's just a fact. It's fucked up, but it just is what it is.
Yeah, the study that I saw, it was something along the lines of new black businesses, like 66% of them were black female-owned businesses, but income from all these new black businesses or black businesses in general, 66 or close to 70% of the income is from black male-owned businesses. So basically, they're just getting LLCs for
right,
babysitting their niece.
Doing hair.
They braided some hair in their kitchen and got an LLC for it. That's
right. The hustlers, they get a crib on Section 8. They paying $100 in rent, and they got into.
But it is benefits. It is benefits to having that LLC, even if you are running a pretty shitty business. You can get some. It is some benefits, right?
Yeah,
there are benefits, and that's one thing they do. They'll go online and do their research and try to figure out a way to pull something else out the system. They good for that. They good for that. But you had anything else, Citizen Lou?
No, go ahead, pass. I'm gonna let it flow. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, if I could, I got to bounce. OG, do you mind if I go first? Because I'm about to bounce off.
Go ahead, Nate. Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Go ahead,
We-
Nate.
yeah.
All right, appreciate it. But real quick, man, shout out to Patriarchy Speaks. I heard what you said. I ain't never gonna fuck with you, bro.
I know I'm about to give my lecture on
Nah,
being
no, bro.
black.
I love a young firebrand, dog. I love that shit.
Nah, I think
especially on
y'all
the conservative
agree.
side.
I think y'all agree a lot more than y'all probably think y'all disagree.
No, and
I hear a lot of
hopefully-
commonality.
And hopefully he'll come to the show. I'm hoping he will. You know, just think
got
about
you.
it, bro.
I got you.
All right, but yeah, you know, I just want to say this. Look, you know, black women have the entire liberal media at their disposal. Tiffany Cross can get up on MSNBC talking about literally wanting to harm white people. I mean, literally. Brittany Cooper was on MSNBC, said, you know, why, you know, white folks should be happy when they, you know, black folks ain't killing them. I mean, Michael Eric Dyson, I think back in 2016 said, you know, white parents need to know what it's like for their children to die. I mean, following leftist media, which black women have an incredible amount of influence and control in, is all the more reason for us to turn completely away from it and to never vote the way those people vote. Black women can claim whatever they would like. They got their businesses, they got their money. They also have their highest rate of consumer and collegiate debt. Okay, debt through the roofs. They have so many. How many men have department store credit cards? Almost none of the men I know, and I've asked, hey, you have any department? Nah, dude, I don't buy it. It's fucking 25% APR.
Hell no.
So many black women I know have department store credit cards. They love debt. They're addicted to a lifestyle. Long term, a group of people addicted to a lifestyle and not success and legacy, being able to pass down wealth, it's going to be a flash in the pan. No group of women can claim success with a 26% marriage rate. I'm sorry. It's impossible. No group of women can claim success when so many of their children are being had out of wedlock by the choice of the women, not the men. That Bill Moyer's interview in 2016 showed you 16 and 17-year-old black girls saying, what do I need a husband for? I don't want the responsibility of family. I don't want that. They have daddy government. The left is their father, their provider. The left does, and of course there's Republicans that have voted for it. I'm not saying, but the left is the proponents of this. The left are the cheerleaders for this. A father is supposed to provide medical care for his children. The government does it. Father's supposed to provide food. Government does it. Father's supposed to provide shelter. The government does it. And they just keep delivering babies on behalf of zaddy government. And the more prizes they get, anything a government subsidizes, it will get more of. So let them lay claim to all the success. It's just another play on their desperation. And it's not just black women, it's just American women in general. All you got to do is look at YouTube. The Black Manosphere and the Manosphere do such a great job of snatching these clips. I wish people would email them to me. I go absolutely ham on this shit. But you know, I'm not tied into Instagram and all that shit yet. But they are cracking. If you go to Pink Book Lessons, who I'm a fan of her and Crimson Cure, to be honest with you. And say what you want about me. There are some women that are legitimate and are actually doing the work. But she had on there just the other day, and I did a stream on it yesterday, of a black woman, and you probably saw it, Bernard, because it's been everywhere now. She's literally crying, I destroyed my life. I misused and abused the people in my life. Now
Yeah,
I want
I started watching that. Somebody sent it to me, and
dude, yeah, you gotta.
I couldn't make it. I didn't make it to the end of it. I just if there was a good money shot at the end, I didn't see. I just heard the first minute and 30 of somebody rambling, and I was like, all right, I'm out. Maybe
Yeah,
the first minute.
and also, Bernard, it's so common. This is happening so often now. These women they're cracking. They're cracking under the pressure and the burdens of performance, of taking care of, and they've never done a good job of taking care of their children and their household alone. You weren't even designed to do that. That's the problem. You know, on my show, and this is it, and I'll bounce. I went over the only way a woman can be happy. A man can never make a woman. I don't care what you do. You can't make her happy. The only way for a creature to experience happiness is for it to live in accord with the law under which it was created. And that's from Minister Farrakhan. OG will tell you that. And women live in opposition to their nature when they're business owners and trying to dominate and climb corporate ladders. The only way a woman can be happy is to find a man who's, got a mission going, and that man finds her place in helping him fulfill his obligations to God. That's the only way a woman can be happy, because that's what you were designed to do. And everything women today do sets them at variance with that, with their nature and everything about them. That's why they're miserable. That's why 25% of them are popping oxycodone and other, mental health medicines and shit. They're miserable. And they're miserable all over YouTube. They can front and pop shit. They get all done up all pretty and then come on to the goddamn stream. And again, no offense to this lady, but look at how Courtney Michelle talks. And again, no offense to her, and I wouldn't disrespect her anywhere. I didn't disrespect. I did 2 streams on her. Didn't disrespect her. I'm not gonna. But look how she talks. When she talks, watch how she talks. Look how measured and careful she is with every single word, because she's lived that life, of the sisterhood ladies. And she realized how much damage that probably did to her. And now she's doing everything with her power. And I tip my hat to her. She watches every word and how she says it. I have never seen a woman measure her words so carefully. It's crazy. But she does not want to offend. She does not want to come off as what a lot of the black men in the space say, a member of the sisterhood. And again, I tip my hat to her. More women should try to do that. Women should be terrified, not of a man abusing them or harming them physically. A woman should be terrified of a man leaving them. And black men, unfortunately, don't leave their women. Everything is reverse. 90s R&B kind of spelt that out. Baby, I'm begging, baby, I'm begging, begging, babe. I mean, this nightmare shit that we used to do. Thank God it's, for the most part, over with. And, we're trying to repair the mess, but don't ever be worried about their claims of success. Women can only claim success in their number of marriages, rings, and intact families, because that's where they find success. They don't find success anywhere else. That's it.
All right.
All right,
Good
gentlemen.
stuff. Little Big Nate, appreciate you coming on through. I make sure I go and check out Little Big Nate. Go sub.
Appreciate
Sub
that,
to Little
dog.
Big Nate. The Clue channel in the building says either both OnlyFans and prostitution are legal or illegal. Allowing one and not the other is a problem. Yeah, but they both, I agree. They both either should be legal or both should be illegal. Yeah, keeping one and not the other doesn't make much sense to me either. But we are joined by OG J Speed. Welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Bernard, and you got Eric up there spitting knowledge down. But you know what?
Who's that?
Bernard,
Who's that guy in your picture right there? That's a
me.
very distinguished man right there.
That's me, but about 30 years ago. But anyway, Bernard, you're starting to look like the Billy Goat Gang that I call, with the goatee and the beard and all that.
Yeah, he puts the do-rag on his hair and the bonnet on his beard.
Oh, that's what he does.
No. This is I put Murray's grease in the beard. I don't know if that was a good idea.
You're supposed to put it on your. Isn't that what the wave? That's for your waves. What do you do?
Yeah, I know, but
No,
I don't.
it's the beard balm to keep the beard.
No.
in place,
I ran out of my beard stuff, so I just improvise and
Mistake.
just put the hair stuff on my beard. So and it is what it is, and we going with it today.
Mistake. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, Eric asked a very important question early in the podcast. He said, what would you have if you separate the men from the women in the workplace? And I can assure you would have the WNBA. Exactly what you would have. But anyway, good stuff. I just wanted to come up and holler at you and let that go. and stop biting your nails. It ain't that serious. And
That's a bad habit I had my whole life. I'm working on it. I
yes,
went,
sir.
yeah,
Do
it's
you used
gotten
to suck
bad to
your
the point.
thumb too?
No,
Oh, okay. All right.
just bite my nails.
It's good to see you, Eric. Still floating around the internet.
Oh,
And
I'm a floater.
yeah, okay.
I can't swim.
Okay, I'm just like me, the ghost. I come in and come out. But anyway, Bernard, you're doing real good. You look good in your suits, and I'm glad you got that background straightened out.
When are we gonna get a tie though? Notice how he never
Uh,
wears it. You need to get him a bow tie for the
no,
nation.
Yeah,
no.
he's trying to look like Bruce Lee. You know, Bruce Lee always wore them.
Kung Fu Jim. Yeah, he's got the granddad collar on.
You know, he always
He's
wore
a
the
granddad collar with no granddad.
So anyway, but you're doing good, Bernard, and I'm listening to you out here in the clouds.
So you about to get off the show? You didn't really have that much to
He had
say.
a dry. He dropped
wanted
a gish.
no. I think he wanted to prove that he can come up here and add to the conversation without incident and then leave.
We got to respect our. I mean, he's an OG though. He's an OG.
Hey, I'm learning. I mean, one of these days, me and Big Nate will have another fight on your show.
I was almost rooting you and
y'all
you
had
and,
a
you
fight
and,
on here.
Oh Lord, how you need to go back and look at that.
It's on my channel. It's on my channel. Just just type in if you type in Bernard Riley, Little Big Nate. OG clowned me. He was like, "Why you even put my name in the title?" I saw that. I was like, "Nah, I ain't putting you in the." Yeah, I saw that. I was like, "I put your face in the thumbnail. That was enough." Everybody see your face. They don't need to see.
Nah,
your
he's
name.
got some slick jokes for you if you don't pay attention, man. Like I remember he said, "I'm probably your dad" to one guy. He told a guy with a fro, "You need to put something in that natural." He's got some slick ones if you don't watch out.
Yeah.
But anyway, y'all take it easy. I'll sit back and listen to you in the cloud.
All right, peace, OG.
All right, peace and love, and always strive for the truth.
All right, JSP. Hey, you know what's funny though, Bernard? Earlier, what you said, I didn't even know that when you said they ass can't read either. That shit threw me off because the way they talk about on here, I didn't know black women reading levels was at 18% proficiency level.
It's very close to where ours are. I mean, it's like that. That's one thing I get annoyed by, that when something come out bad about black men, they talk about it as if they're just, as if they're just meeting the standard, just exceeding and above, like their numbers are equal to Asian women in that category. So whenever they say, whenever they pull something out, I always, whatever it is, I always, Thomas Sowell actually asked the question. He said, compared to what? If you say something is bad, okay, compared to what? It's good, okay, compared to what? So that's why I always do. That's why I always do a full comparison. So I went looking. As soon as they started talking about black boys' reading level, I was like,
I was gonna ask you, are you on TikTok like that?
Nah, I need
not really. Yeah, it's kind of probably.
If you want to see the worst stuff from women ever, I'm on TikTok. I've had
I think we probably about the same age. That's probably why. But I was going,
TikTok will give you a heart attack. Like
TikTok,
the day Big Nate finds TikTok, he's gonna start sounding like me.
I was gonna say TikTok is another beast. Hey, Patrick Mahomes. What's his name? Eric? Is that? I don't want to keep calling you Patrick Mahomes.
Patriarchy strikes back, but go ahead. Yeah, Eric. Yeah, you can call me that.
Yeah. Hey, Bernard. So anytime they got like a stat that's going at black women, they always throw it back to black men. Like the eviction, they threw it back at black men and say, "Oh, it's because you Negroes don't got no y'all own. We living with y'all." And then the STD rate, the abortions, anything negative in them, it's like it's like a boomerang back to black men. And and it's just, I would dare say TikTok is probably like, it got some good stuff. You can find some good stuff on there, but like they do it.
Where?
How you gotta hit the search bar,
dude. When I
search it.
When I scroll down. When I scroll down TikTok, I'm ready for Jesus to come back. Like, I'm not even playing. When I see the algorithm, and I have to be honest, black women aren't the worst. I hate to say, if you think these other races of women, scroll down TikTok. If you think black women are the worst, scroll down to. I have never I'm talking about white women that are bragging about cuck party. They're doing witchcraft. It is pure. I've never seen anything like it. I'm sorry.
I've been plotting on reviewing this
Oh, be careful, bro.
reacting to this video.
Prepare yourself.
It's no. This well, hell, I think she is on TikTok. This is a black chick, or I think. Well, no, I think she's on YouTube. Maybe both. It's called Divested Witch. I shouldn't even said her name.
Oh, let me look
All
her up.
type of satanic stuff on
but
there. But
anyway, it's the divested part we used to, but mixing some witchery with it.
It's
I'm
all
like,
witchcraft. And don't even get started on how many women with the tarot cards and like I always say this to like young men, right? Especially young black men. What did our grandmas have around their neck? The cross. What do the women now have? These stones. You go everywhere. They got those little stupid, and it's all sage and energies and vibes and all this.
And they still be
hold
on, and they still be claiming to be Christians while having all them stones and all that.
This is purely no, they're not. Honestly,
no, they claim it. I've heard them do it.
Okay, they're resting in their satanic femininity these days, right? It's just they just all the women. I can't just pick on black women here. It's just Satan, okay? It's the stones, the dirty white Air Force Ones, the bonnets that look like something a witch would wear. It's all just satanic to me. And it's like, listen to how they talk, vibes and energies. And what about they don't live in absolute right and wrong? And that's completely satanic to me. That's my opinion. I'm not here to preach, but I don't think getting to heaven is multiple choice. All right. So, but because that's the problem. They think that everything should just be tolerated. And yeah, man, I like I said, stay off TikTok. It's satanic in there.
Yeah. Osama Abdul in the building says we need another J Speed, Little Big Nate collab. Salute. You said another? They didn't exactly collab. They both was on my panel. And well, no, I did a collab with Little Big Nate and J Speed came up and they got into it. They had it out and I clipped that part and made a separate video for it. But no, a full blown collaboration, the two of them for an hour. Oh yeah, that'd be classic. I don't think it'll make it the whole hour. If they schedule it for an hour, I think it'll be over in about 15 minutes. I honestly do. But Dane C in the building says, BR, do a quick recap on the data just got here. Bro, I can't. That's I did a whole goddamn I'll probably edit and clip it just to make the point. So the points that I made just don't get lost in the middle of a live stream. So I'll probably clip it and make a smaller video for it. But I would say rewind to roughly the 30-minute mark. And then that's probably when I started reacting to the video. So yeah, I would recommend you do that. I recommend you do that. That is it's too much. I mean, I did a whole down 45-minute performance. God damn it, I can't repeat that in 5 seconds or 10 seconds or however long you wanted me to do it. But Captain Cisco in the building says, I believed witchcraft. Wow. Okay.
Nah, them Red Bulls got him.
Yeah.
But I do think that they have a line. I hate to say this. I think God is connected to us and Satan is connected to them, right? And I think Christianity to me is the best religion because I get the story of women on the first page. And I think there's a reason why the devil went to the woman. That's my opinion. I don't know, just me here talking.
Yeah. That's yeah. A lot of people come to that conclusion. Even in a non-manospherian way, they would say, even I think even biblically they would say, he went to the weaker vessel, so to speak. I think I've heard somebody make that case.
Well, I think that they have a different set of ears than us, right? And I don't think that there's any, because you know how a man can say, I'll give you an example. Anytime a man wants to do something to be great, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has to be yelled at by other men, whether it is if you want to play football, if you're in the military, if you really want something, you're going to have to be pushed and people are going to talk to you in a way that the women would say that they don't like because it's bad energies, right? And it could be, that is why when men talk to them, this is one of the reasons I don't believe in really talking to them or debating, because the words that we say to them, they don't even hear them. They hear something completely different. Their sense of hearing and our sense of hearing is completely different. That is why when when you walk up to them and you say, 4 times 2 equals 8, the first thing they'll say is, well, who hurt you, right? Because they don't have the ability to hear the things that we hear. That's just my
Yeah, and here's another thing too, right? Kind of to piggyback up that. Can they really be doing better if they get treated with kid gloves, or as if they're in the Special Olympics or something like that? Like if you know what I'm saying? Like if me averaging 30 points a game in the NBA and isn't the same as averaging 30 points a game in the handicap basketball league. You see what I'm saying?
It can when the ref keeps putting them at the free throw line and they don't ever have to play the game. The refs, that's what they're doing. They're crying to the ref to change the game.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's a fair question. Yeah, it's a fair question. If they were, I mean, listen, I've argued that they're technically not doing better. Like I always say, the magic words compared to what. So when they talk about they got more degrees, they're more educated than us. I'm like, okay, every group of women is more educated than their men. Every group of men make more money than their women, us included. In terms of average salary, median income, all of that shit. So it's like I don't buy that they're doing better thing, but and we can't point to from Title IX. They do got a higher employment rate. We can point to that one. They can point to that one legitimately, but then again, that speaks right to what you're saying about there's an aspect of the game that was they complain and say, and this is one thing I said earlier in the stream, they complain about we're double minorities, and that means we have a double disadvantage. No, being a double minority gave you an advantage. That gave you an advantage based off rules and regulations of the game that got changed to the benefit.
Yeah, and when they do get jobs, it doesn't like when they get degrees, when they get jobs, it doesn't help black people as a whole at all. Like
They're
I'm
not
in
community minded.
Yeah, I'm in tech, right? Every time like a black, I get
Their
if I'm doing an interview and there's like a black woman there, like I'm like 0 for 10.
Oh yeah. They're getting you out of there, bro.
You know what I'm saying? If it's a black woman
you're out of there.
or our pool, I'm done. But if it's like a white dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually pretty. It's actually a high chance I'm gonna be in there. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a black woman or Muhammad, I'm done.
That's messed up, man. And like I hear people say that. I don't know if that's true, and that hasn't been my experience. I mean, I don't even think I've ever been interviewed by a black woman ever. I've had,
So
anyway.
you never went to HR? That's where a lot of them work in HR.
I got hired.
While having the job, I've had interactions with black women at various positions. I've had a black female supervisor. It was 2 black female supervisors at one job. One of them was on the first shift, one of them was on the second shift, and both of them was some
and you quit on the third shift.
Yeah, both of them was some outright cunts. Everybody hated them, but so there's that. But damn, but this is what I'm getting at. Like how you said that you getting hired, the percentage chances drop when it's a black woman interviewing you versus
it's anecdotal. I'll give you that.
I know, but I would love some empirical data on that to see if black men got a better chance of getting hired by a white man. That's the interviewing manager, supervisor, or whatever. He's doing the interviews. Do they get hired at a higher percentage rate if it's a white man doing the hiring versus if a black woman is doing the hiring versus even if a white woman is doing the hiring, and throw in one of the black man is doing the hiring.
I've never had a black
across the board. You never had a black man interview?
No, never. In my
I've
3
been
years.
interviewed. 3 years is short.
I mean, in this field, right? I'm in this.
Field,
right?
I've had
before when I was doing other stuff. Yeah, and then a black woman did help me get at the call center when I was like 20 or whatever, but that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I 3 times have been interviewed by a brother, and so You got hired every time that I think about it. Hold on, wait.
And I guess I will say the demographics too, because now I'm in California, so I guess versus when I was living in the South, so that's what I mean, it's different. There's definitely more Black people in the South, so I will got to take that into effect. But
all right, J Speed back in the building with a super chat. He says, "I know what I liked to debate.
God.
Little big mistake. Black people do have a
he got a
community."
little
Oh.
big mistake. Damn, JSP, God damn.
Oh no, that's old. He's been calling him that for a minute.
Oh man.
Oh, he did. Oh, damn.
You know what? I will. I'll contact little big Nate, and I'll see if he want to debate that with you. I'll schedule it over here, and I'll moderate the debate if y'all want to debate whether or not Black people have a community. I don't know where Nate stands on that. I don't know what he's going to say. So we'll see where he stands on that, and then we'll go from there. But somebody by the name of Shocks. No, well, yeah, Shocks 112. I don't know what. Okay. Anyway, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to the show. Giving you
Hey,
a shout.
brother.
You got the mic. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for bringing me on or whatnot. I've been doing a little research myself, and it's great to see that we're really driving it home as far as empiricism and the manosphere. I think that we're as we continue to do this, it will drive home the point with further legitimacy, so that people can address these issues. The other day, I was actually looking on earnings. If you notice, when it comes to gender pay gaps, they almost always compare the gender pay gaps to white men. They never really pair them with their respective groups. And I looked at the Bureau of Labor Statistics this past year, and of all the women for their respective groups, Black women have the most parity in pay than anyone else in those groups. For every dollar we make, they make 93 cents. Everybody else is about like 82 cents, 83 cents, and stuff like that. I could point out the source if you want me to.
Yeah, send that to me. I want to look at that because I look at a lot of data. I see a lot of I see oh wait, hold on, you got to mute up. I can hear something in the background. I hear
Oh,
something in
me?
the background. Yeah.
Okay.
Or just turn off YouTube in the background. Most of the data that I find, I don't necessarily see that with the way that you described it. So yeah, I do want to look at the study and see how they calculated what they looked at and everything. I mean, this doesn't break it down to cents for every cents on a dollar, but it's just looking at it just raw right there, just median annual earnings. It's a $7,000 difference per year between Black men and Black women and Hispanic. And I mean, Hispanic folks, you can see the same 7,000, but then it widens with white men and white women and especially with Asian men and Asian women. And go back to what I talked about, them goddamn STEM degrees. That's where the money is at: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. That's where the money is at. So yeah, but generally every time I do see any comparison between the wage gap, they normally just compare it to men in general to women in general. Normally, that's what they do it. They don't just compare other women to white men. When that Goldman Sachs study came out, I mean not Goldman Sachs studies, but when Goldman Sachs was basically explaining why, or the I guess the foundational reason why they given however many billion to Black women, I forgot. They put out a study where they basically compared Black women to white men, which was a weird thing to do, weird comparison, comparing the pay gap between Black women and white men. But overall, in general, I see equal parity between looking at Hispanic women versus Hispanic men and Black women versus Black men, but I do see a wider gap with Asian men versus Asian women and white men versus white women. That's what I see in the data. But send me what you got. Email it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, I just threw it in the little.
Okay, you threw it in the back.
I was looking. Yeah, it says it's like Black women earners are 93% by ratio.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 92.
Yeah, I do want to
I see
see.
you're saying 93 cents. I see what you're saying. Black women earnings are the percentage of Black men's earnings, and it says it went up last year. And it says
Yep.
like Asian women's went down to like 78%. The earnings. Okay, I see what he's saying.
Yeah, I got to check it out and review it. Sometimes I don't like on the fly data that I didn't get to examine and run a fine tooth comb through, just like I run a fine tooth comb through this through that video in the study that they you got to mute up, or you got to shut YouTube. I think you got StreamYard and YouTube on at the same time. Just if you log off of YouTube or just hit X, hit the just close your YouTube, and then we won't hear we shouldn't hear me in the background. But yeah, I'm trying to look at it on the fly and even understand exactly what it is that I'm seeing here. So I'll dig into this later and probably do a show on this. So thanks for
Yeah, it's just
bringing this.
it's just. But
bringing
I see what he's saying, man. It's such a like a lie that a lot of women say on this in these spaces. Like black men are probably the most egalitarian, the most cool with black women leadership. I mean, they vote the same. They talk. I mean, the most. I mean,
Yeah.
did you see that movie Woman King? I mean,
No.
I saw it. I saw it. The king gave her a position as pretty much like an equal footing in the tribe or whatever. So it's just like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like of all the people they talk shit, like black men are locking step with black women. It don't even make sense. Like they want to give black women jobs. They want to help. If you look at those black girl code, it be black men helping. You look at
Oh yeah.
everything. You know
No,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I've
Like it's
said that big
crazy.
time. Yeah, I've said that big time. Even black men who are, in millionaire status and philanthropic a lot of times with the initiatives and things they support quite often are black women. I did content a couple times on Drew Holiday. He got his $24 million salary. I think like 5 million of it each year. He donates to either black organizations or black businesses. And when I looked at the people that he donated it to, I think something like 75% of it was black female led organizations or businesses. So even the black men who are, who are philanthropic, or let's just say even want to make an investment and get their money back, they still not looking at it in terms of black, doing for black men. And some people don't like this when I say this around here, but black men doing better typically means black women doing better. If the men of any group do better, the women of that group are going to do better. That's part of the reason we're going back to what I said about the article, why white women and black women are closer, because white women aren't capitalizing. They score well enough on every standardized test to get almost just as many STEM degrees as white men, to be like right up there with them and make just as much money as them. But they like, fuck it, I'll get a degree in basket weaving and make money, close to what black people making. Like they don't, they don't really give a damn, because they know that they'll just get with a man and call it a day. But and those of them that are ambitious and got their own little strong independent, don't need no man shit, they'll get on that shit. But a high enough percentage of them, even though they have the ability, the aptitude, and the test scores to go into STEM and dominate, I'd rather get an easy major, do my
Find
4
a
years.
husband.
Yeah.
That's how they look at it.
That's what they own. That's what they own. That was that was sort of the nuts and bolts of why I said it was a foolish comparison. Say, comparing, looking at. I don't even feel like rehashing the whole damn show, so I'll pump the brakes on that. But no, I definitely. Oh shit! I hope I didn't lose it. Where's it at? All right, yeah, there it is. All right, yeah, I'll try to figure out what's going on here. Hold on. Total black women's earnings as a percentage of total men's earnings. Okay, 83%. Okay. Yeah. I gotta dig into it. I can't. I can't do studies on the fly.
Understandable. Is it if you could just send me in the little side chat there, I'll send you something directly if you're okay with that. Just so
What? Send it to my email directly?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so
My
you have
email is in the about section, and I think my admin that you'll probably see it pop up down there. It'll say admin in the private chat, and that's where they'll be putting my email. So yeah, you can just get it from there. But or it's in my about section, one or the other. But,
okay.
hold on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thanks
But no, that's
thanks
cool.
for bringing
That's
some
cool.
critical analysis to the table.
Yeah,
And I land my
absolutely.
plane there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right, man. I guess you about to shut it down. So,
What'd you say?
I was like, I see you about to shut it down, so I'll get up out of here.
Yeah, probably about to wrap this bad boy up. But all right. Thanks for coming on through. Do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who came on through. Everybody who who supported the stream. Everybody who liked, shared, subscribed, super chatted, did anything to support the stream in any way, shape, or form. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.